The crash site wasn't empty. Something was already watching him. The ship fell from the sky like a burning rock. Captain Jace held on tight as everything around him shook, sparked, and broke apart. Alarms screamed in his ears. Red lights flashed. Smoke filled the air. "Brace," he shouted, though no one was left to hear him. His team was gone. The mission had failed. The crash hit hard. Metal bent. Glass shattered. Then silence. Jace opened his eyes slowly. He was alive. Bleeding, but alive. Outside the broken glass, he saw tall trees with purple leaves. The sky was green. It wasn't Earth. It wasn't even a friendly world. This was Xalon 4, an uncharted jungle planet. No humans had ever survived here for long. Jace crawled out of the wreck. His boots touched the soft, wet ground. Vines curled around fallen parts of his ship. The air smelled like rot and flowers. He coughed. His ribs hurt. His side was bleeding. But worse, he felt it. Eyes. Someone, something, was watching him. He turned quickly. Nothing. But the feeling didn't leave. Not animals. Not just nature. No, this was different. Sharper. Intelligent. He grabbed the survival pack from the wreck. A knife. A water capsule. A flare gun with one shot. And a small scanner. It blinked red. "Life form detected," it whispered. Jace froze. Then the scanner died. He needed a weapon. He picked up a metal rod, then tied a sharp piece of hull to it with wires. A spear, not perfect, but better than nothing. He moved slowly into the trees, leaving the smoke behind. Every step felt like a test. Every leaf moved like it had a mind of its own. A sound. Soft breathing. Jace turned fast. Still nothing. But this time, he saw it. A shape, far up in the trees. Tall, slim, with glowing green eyes. It vanished in a blink. "Not human," he muttered. He kept walking. Step by step, quiet as he could. He reached a small clearing and stopped. On the ground, marks. Claw marks. Deep, fresh. 5 fingers. Too big for a human, too wide for any animal he knew. Then he saw it. A small object on the ground. A necklace. Made of bones. Tiny, carved, sharp. A warning? No, a trophy. Then he heard the sound again. Not breathing this time. Something like a growl. But not from a mouth. It came from a throat. Or maybe a mask. He raised the spear. "Come on," he said. Not yelling. Calm. Ready. Then silence. For hours he stayed alert. No attack came. No creature showed. But when night fell, Jace found something worse. A tree, with human bones tied to it. One skull had a mark, a bullet hole. Someone else had been here. Another human. Maybe from an old mission. Maybe a prisoner. Whoever it was, they didn't survive. But someone had kept their bones. As a prize. Jace didn't sleep. He built a small fire near a rock wall and sat with his back to it, his spear in hand. Through the flames, he saw those eyes again. Green, watching, unblinking. Then gone. Not an animal, not wild. A hunter. And now, he was the prey. But Jace smiled. They didn't know what kind of prey he was. She marked him as prey. But he hunted back. The sun never truly rose on Xalon 4. Instead, a pale blue light filled the jungle, glowing softly from the plants. Strange vines moved when no wind blew. Trees whispered without voices. Everything felt alive. And hungry. Captain Jace hadn't slept. His back ached. His side throbbed. But his eyes stayed sharp, because she was still watching. Whoever, or whatever, she was, she had followed him all night. Not a beast. Not a simple predator. No, this was something else. A hunter. And worse, she was smarter than he expected. He left his camp early. covered his tracks. Climbed a tree, waited. 2 hours later, she appeared. Tall, masked. Her armor looked like it was made from the bones of creatures 10 times his size. Her hands carried a spear longer than Jace's body. She didn't walk. She moved like a shadow. Quiet, smooth. She stopped where his fire had been. Looked around. Then she crouched. Her hand touched the ground, and her head snapped up. She turned toward the tree Jace hid in. He didn't breathe. Her head tilted slightly. Then she smiled. The mask pulled back slightly, revealing sharp teeth and dark, curious eyes. She knew he was watching, and she was enjoying it. Jace's heart pounded, not with fear, but with the thrill of the game. She thinks I'm prey, he thought. Good. Let her. He waited until she left, then moved fast, deeper into the jungle. Every step was planned. Every leaf he touched was left in place or twisted just enough to confuse a tracker. He wasn't just running. He was luring, because Jace had a plan. He remembered a broken pod he passed earlier, half buried in vines. Old human tech, maybe from another failed mission. If it still had power, he could use it. Not to escape, but to trap. Hours passed. The jungle grew darker. The pod was still there, rusted but intact. Jace pried open the door and climbed inside. He found what he needed. A power cell. Damaged, but unstable. Good enough for one thing. A makeshift explosive. He built a tripwire at the entrance, placed sharp metal shards around it. If she followed, she'd walk right into it. Then he waited. Outside, the jungle went quiet. Too quiet. Then, click. The tripwire snapped. Boom. The pod shook as fire burst through the trees. Jace leaped out the back and rolled into cover. He raised his spear, ready to finish it. But what he saw made him stop cold. She stood in the flames, burning, but not running. Her armor smoked. Her mask was cracked. Blood dripped from her side. But she didn't fall. She laughed. Low and deep, almost human, but not quite. She stepped forward and removed her mask. Her face was strong. Alien, yes, but beautiful in a deadly way. Scars marked her cheek. Her eyes were golden, sharp like a hawk. She looked at Jace like a puzzle. Not angry, not scared. Curious, impressed. She pointed at him, then to her own chest. "Valera," she said in a deep voice, then pointed again, asking his name. He didn't answer. She tilted her head, amused. Then she threw something at his feet, a broken blade. The same one Jace lost on day 1. She had taken it, studied it, and now returned it. A message. "I could have killed you, but I didn't." Then she vanished into the trees. Jace stood there, breathing hard, confused. What kind of hunter returns a weapon to their prey? Unless he wasn't prey anymore. He was a challenge. Maybe even something more. He took down the beast they worshipped. The jungle had changed. Even the air felt different, heavy, thick, as if the trees were holding their breath. Captain Jace had been on many deadly worlds. He had fought wars, survived ambushes, and escaped monsters. But now, for the first time, the jungle itself felt afraid. Valera had not returned since the fire. 3 days had passed. Not a sign, not a sound, not a whisper of her glowing eyes. But something else had come. Something bigger. Jace first noticed it in the ground. The way the soil trembled, like a slow, heavy heartbeat. Then came the smell, like wet iron and burnt bones. Then the bones themselves. He found them near a river, a pile of skulls stacked in a spiral. Not random. Arranged. Some were alien. Some were human. Their helmets still had Earth symbols. Broken, cracked, forgotten. He touched one, and the jungle screamed. Not a voice, not a roar. The trees themselves shivered. Birds fled. Vines curled up tight. Then came the sound. A low growl. Not near, but everywhere. Jace dropped the helmet and backed away. Something had marked this place. Something sacred. Something deadly. And it was coming back. By nightfall, he found the cave. Carved into black rock, covered in red handprints and glowing blue dust, bones of large beasts surrounded the entrance. A warning. But he had no choice. His arm was bleeding. He needed shelter. He needed answers. And deep inside, he felt something strange, like he was being pulled here. Inside, the walls told stories. Simple drawings, alien symbols, and pictures. One drawing showed a massive beast, 10 legs, 4 jaws, skin like stone. It stood above dozens of tiny figures who worshipped it. Another drawing showed a huntress, smaller, braver. She stood alone against the monster. The next drawing was dark. The beast crushed everything. Fire, death, silence. The last drawing. A figure from the sky. Small, but holding light in one hand, fire in the other. Underneath it, a symbol was painted in gold. Hope. Jace stood there, breathing heavy. He didn't know what the beast was, but he knew what the cave was saying. The tribe once feared the beast, but they also believed someone would come. Someone not from their world. Someone who could end it. He didn't have to wait long. The next morning, the beast came. It crashed through the jungle like a mountain with legs, skin like cracked armor, eyes that burned red. It didn't walk. It pulled the world beneath it. And it was angry. Jace ran. Not away, but around. He knew the terrain now. He knew the cliff, the hollow trees, the hidden pits. He led it, step by step, until it reached the old shipwreck. Jace stood on top of the broken engine. Flare gun in one hand, spear in the other. "Come on," he whispered. The beast roared. Trees fell. Birds vanished. It charged. Jace jumped off the edge, into a trench he had filled with sharpened spikes. The beast fell in, but it didn't die. Not yet. Its skin was too strong. It climbed halfway out, bleeding, roaring, furious. But Jace wasn't done. He ran back to the wreck, opened a small hatch. Inside, a hidden fuel core still glowed red. Unstable, deadly. He armed it. 30 seconds. He threw it at the beast and jumped behind a rock wall. Boom. The jungle shook. Flames lit the sky, and the beast's roar finally stopped. For a long time, there was silence. Then footsteps. Not loud, not fast. Slow, steady, careful. Jace turned and saw her. Valera. She stood at the edge of the destroyed trench, her eyes wide. She looked at the dead beast, then at Jace. Her lips parted. "You killed it," she said, voice low, filled with awe. Jace wiped blood from his mouth. Wasn't easy. Valera stepped closer. She looked at the beast, then pulled out a small dagger from her belt. With a slow hand, she cut her palm and let her blood fall on the dead creature's head. A ritual. Then she knelt. Not to the beast. To Jace. He stared at her, confused. "What are you doing?" She looked up. "This creature ruled my world for 100 generations. Even our elders never challenged it. It was death itself. But you..." She stood. "You are not prey. Not hunter. You are change." She touched his chest. "Your blood will shape the future." Jace didn't answer. He didn't understand her words fully, but he felt the truth in them. The game had changed. He wasn't the outsider anymore. He was something else now. And others would come for him. She tasted his blood, then refused to kill again. Valera had always known who she was. A huntress, a killer, the sharpest blade of her tribe. Since birth, she had been trained to feel no mercy, no softness, only honor through death. But now, her hand shook. She stared at Jace's blood on her palm. It was warm, thicker than alien blood, human blood. She had tasted it once before, a drop, during the ritual of return. She hadn't told anyone, not even her elders. It was only a drop, but it had changed everything. That night, Valera sat on the high tree branch, far above the jungle floor. She watched Jace sleep below near the fire. His chest rose and fell slowly. His face was calm, but still alert, like a soldier even in dreams. She didn't understand how he could kill a god beast and still protect the smallest creature that came near his firelight. A wounded bird had landed beside him earlier. He hadn't eaten it. He had wrapped it in cloth, fed it crumbs, waited with it until it flew again. What kind of warrior does that? She thought. Her people would have crushed the bird under their heel. But Jace was something different. He was dangerous, but he chose not to be cruel, and that made him more powerful than any killer she had ever known. Valera woke up screaming, not from pain, from the dream. She had seen Jace standing in a place of steel towers and wide roads. Earth, his world. But in the dream, she had been there too. Not as a warrior, but wearing white, holding something in her arms. A child. A small, half-human child. Her child. She had never dreamed like this before. Not even her ancestors had spoken of such visions. She looked down at her hands. Her claws shook. This isn't possible. It can't be. She didn't return to the tribe that day. But they found her. 3 warriors stood in her path, faces covered, armor sharp. "You've gone soft," the lead hunter said. "You bow to the outsider." Valera raised her spear. "I kneel to strength, not weakness." "Then why haven't you killed him?" "Because he earned his breath. We don't spare prey." "Then maybe he's not prey anymore." The other hunter stepped forward. "You share his blood." Valera flinched. "Your scent has changed. You've been marked. You've blood with him." The third hunter spit on the ground. "You are no longer one of us." "No," Valera said. "I'm more than you now." Then the fight began. Jace heard the battle before he saw it. Screams, the clash of metal, the breaking of trees. He ran toward the sound, spear in hand. When he reached the clearing, 2 bodies lay still, and Valera stood over the last warrior, bleeding, chest rising fast. But she didn't strike. Her spear hovered above the final blow. But her hand froze. Her enemy looked up, afraid, waiting. Valera turned her head, looked at Jace, then dropped the spear. "I won't kill him," she said, voice shaking. The other warrior stared in shock. Valera took a slow step back. "Go," she whispered. The warrior fled. Silence returned. Jace stepped closer. "Why didn't you finish it?" Valera didn't look at him. "Because something inside me broke." "When?" She touched her own chest. "When I tasted your blood." That night, the fire burned lower than usual. Valera sat beside Jace, silent. After a long time, she spoke. "In my tribe, blood is truth. We taste it to know our enemy, to learn, to feel what they feel." Jace nodded slowly. "And mine told you." "What?" She looked into his eyes. "That you are not here to destroy. But you will. Because you must." "I don't understand." "You will." Then she touched his hand. Not as a warrior, but as something more. Jace looked at her, not with fear, not with caution, but with something like trust. A small, quiet moment passed. Then a loud horn shattered it. The sky glowed red in the distance. Valera stood quickly. "They're coming." "Who?" "The elders, the blood council. They know you killed the god beast." "Is that bad?" "They don't kneel to gods. They destroy threats." Jace stood beside her. "Then let them come." She looked at him again. "You still don't know what you are to them." "Then tell me." Valera's voice dropped low. Her words slow, careful, Ancient, you are the echo of prophecy, the firewalker, the outsider who bleeds like us, but fights like none of us ever could. And that scares them. She nodded once. It terrifies them. They sent 12 hunters for him. Only she came back. In the heart of the Blood Mountain, 12 hunters stood in a circle of flame. They were the Elder's final answer. 12 trained killers. 12 blades of the ancient code. Each had never failed. Each had returned from wars that crushed entire species. And now, they were sent for a single man. Not because they believed he was powerful, but because they were afraid of what he would become. Valeera knew what this meant. The moment she saw the flame in the sky, the red signal, she dropped to her knees. 12 have been called, she whispered. Jace stood behind her, sharpening his spear. What's that mean? She turned toward him, her eyes darker than he'd ever seen. It means they want to erase you. Not just kill. Erase. Jace looked at the jungle. Quiet. Peaceful. But now, death was walking through it. Can we run? We can try, she said. But they don't stop. They don't sleep. They don't miss. Then we don't run. Valeera blinked. What? We prepare. Jace spent the night laying traps. He studied the terrain, climbed trees, dug trenches, sharpened spikes. Valeera watched him from the shadows. How do you know how to do all this? She asked. Because I wasn't born strong, he said. I was taught to survive. I was taught to outthink people stronger than me. She tilted her head. And now? Now I'm not just surviving, he said. I'm fighting for something. For me. He paused, looked at her, then nodded. Yeah, and for what you showed me. The first hunter came before dawn. Jace saw nothing, just heard the thump of something heavy falling. He followed the sound. A giant beast lay dead, its neck snapped. Beside it, a claw mark. Not from the beast, from a blade. He knew what it meant. The hunt had started. By mid-morning, the second and third hunters came. They didn't talk, didn't wait. They moved through the jungle like smoke. One of them almost reached Jace's back until he stepped into a wire trap and swung upside down into a spiked pit. The second vanished into the trees. But Jace had learned from Valeera. He used a mirror shard to reflect light, blinding the enemy just long enough to strike. One spear, clean. He didn't enjoy the kill. But he didn't hesitate either. By sunset, 7 were dead. Jace was bleeding. His side torn, arm bruised, but his eyes still burned. And the traps were working. Valeera joined the fight only once, when 2 hunters tried to corner Jace near the waterfall. She leaped from the trees with twin blades, slicing the air like music. For a moment, Jace forgot everything else. She moved like a storm, wild, graceful, deadly. But when it was over, she dropped her blades and stared at Jace. I could have let them kill you, she said. You didn't. Why? She stepped closer. Because when I saw you fighting for your life, I saw myself, and I wanted you to win. Only 3 hunters remained, but they were the worst. 1 used poison, 1 used shadow, and the last, no one had ever seen his face. He was called the Silence, not because he was quiet, but because every place he walked died. Jace found the poisoned one first. His traps failed. The ground turned to mist. His eyes blurred. Valeera shouted, but Jace had already been hit. His vision spun. He dropped to his knees. But even poisoned, Jace remembered. He reached into the dirt and grabbed something he had planted earlier. A small spike. Metal. Sharp. He threw it without looking. It struck the hunter's throat. Silence. Then the poison cleared. Jace stood slowly. Valeera ran to him. Are you? He held up a hand. Don't say it. She smiled. The 11th came at midnight. From the shadows, he stabbed through the tent. Jace wasn't there. A dummy. Heat packs. Fake heartbeat. A trick. From behind, Jace stepped forward and crushed the hunter's mask with a stone. They all think like warriors, Jace muttered. Not like prey. Only one left. The silence. They waited. They listened. Nothing. Until Valera gasped. Where is he? Jace asked. He's not coming for you, she said. Her eyes widened in horror. He's going after the tribe. They ran. Through the jungle, through smoke, through night, and when they arrived, they were too late. The silence had already begun. Fires, screams, warriors lying in pieces. He didn't come to kill Jace. He came to punish anyone who let Jace live. But he hadn't left yet. In the center of the village, surrounded by burning bone torches, he stood. Tall, silent, no mask. His face was smooth, white, empty, like bone carved into the shape of a man. He turned toward Jace and didn't move. You want me, Jace said. I'm here. The silence raised one finger, then vanished. He reappeared behind Jace, faster than anything he'd fought. But Jace was ready. He ducked, turned, stabbed. Nothing. Just wind. But Valera screamed, his feet. Jace looked down. The silence's foot hovered just above the dirt, never touching it. No sound. No trace. Jace smiled. Got you. He triggered a sound spike, a weapon that used vibration to explode silent movements. Boom. The ground cracked. The silence fell. His body didn't make a noise, but his blood did. Drip, drip. And then he was still. The battle was over. 12 had come. Only one returned. Valera. She walked back to the tribe alone. The others watched her. They saw the blood. They smelled the human scent. And they knew. She had chosen. Not the tribe. Not the code. But him. And when she reached Jace, she didn't speak. She just took his hand and didn't let go. She asked him for children, and he walked into fire. The war was over. 12 hunters had come. 12 were gone. Yet Jace felt no peace. Because now, the real battle was inside him. He sat beside the broken statue of the jungle god, the same creature he had killed days ago. Valera stood nearby, silent, eyes fixed on him. Why are you quiet? He asked, though he already knew. She took a step forward, her voice low, strange, soft. Because I fear you will leave. Jace looked up. Leave? You said once you crashed here by accident, that your people might come for you. Yes. And if they come, will you go with them? Jace looked into the jungle. I don't know. She walked closer now, stood just inches from him. I have given you my blade, she said. My tribe, my future. He stayed quiet. Then she reached out and placed his hand on her stomach. I want your blood in me, she said, not just as a mark, but as life. Jace didn't move. Her voice trembled. I want children. Yours. Even if they'll be different. Even if the tribe calls it a curse. He swallowed hard. Why? She didn't blink. Because what we make together might be the only thing this world has never seen before. Hope. But hope is a fragile thing. It burns bright. And it draws fire. The jungle lit up that night. Not with stars. With flames. Fire spread from tree to tree. Unnatural. Controlled. Someone had set it. Planned it. The scent of burning oil filled the sky. The tribe had made their choice. They would not follow Valera into change. They would not accept a human god. They would burn the jungle to erase the future. And they started with the children. The fire reached the caves first, where the orphans and younglings hid. Valera screamed, running ahead. Jace followed, lungs burning with smoke. Inside the cave, heat cracked the walls. Screams echoed in the dark. She grabbed 2 children, Jace grabbed 3. But one scream still echoed, deeper inside. A small voice. Still trapped. Go, Jace told Valera. Get them out. She didn't want to leave him, but she nodded and ran. Jace turned back. Through the smoke, he saw her, a little alien girl with gray skin and glowing eyes, crying beside a fallen beam. He rushed forward, pushed the burning wood aside, picked her up. The fire roared behind him. The way out was gone. But there was one way, up through the old vent tunnel, a path only a thin man could crawl through. He placed the child inside, told her to climb, told her to live. Then he smiled. But the fire swallowed the smile. Outside, Valera coughed hard, eyes red with smoke. The children were safe. But Jace was still inside. No, she whispered. No, no, no. She ran back toward the cave, but it collapsed behind her. Rock. Flame. Silence. Jac, she screamed. No answer. Her knees gave out. Her heart didn't. Dawn came. The smoke faded. The trees stopped burning. And from the ashes, something moved. A figure, covered in black dust. Blood. Broken armor. But still breathing. Jace. He walked out of the fire, carrying a child in one arm, dragging a broken spear in the other. Valera ran to him, tears falling freely. You idiot, she whispered, hugging him. You told me not to leave, he said, weakly. So I didn't. They sat under a tree that hadn't burned. Children gathered around them. Valera placed a hand on Jace's heart. You are no longer from the sky, she said. You belong to this world now. And you? He asked. I've always been here, but you showed me how to live in it. She touched her chest. Our bond is stronger than blood. Then she placed his hand on her stomach again. And now, it will grow. Jace looked at her, unsure if it was a dream. But it wasn't. Not this time. But dreams don't last long in jungles filled with old laws and jealous gods. Far above, in the cliffs beyond the clouds, the watchers of her kind opened their eyes. And they saw everything. They saw a human walk through fire. They saw a huntress choose love. They saw children born of 2 bloods. And they whispered the ancient word, abomination. Because what Jace and Valera had created could change everything. And that terrified them. She gave him a throne, but he wanted her hand. The fire was out, but the smoke still lived in the sky. For days, the jungle whispered his name. The humans had called him Jace, but now the tribes called him something older, something whispered in the dark. The god who bled. Not because he was divine, but because he survived what no one else could, and didn't lose his heart. The survivors gathered under the red moon. Elders who once spit his name now fell to their knees. The beast was dead. The silence had fallen. The jungle still burned in parts, but the future had taken root, in the form of a man and a woman, and what grew between them. Valera walked beside Jace through the stone steps of the sacred throne hollow. Her hand touched his, not tight, not weak. Steady. They want you to rule, she said. Why? He asked, truly confused. Because they follow strength. Then they should follow you. She smiled. They would, but I chose you, and they respect choice more than blood. They reached the center, where the throne stood, carved from bones of ancient sky beasts. It had never been sat upon in 200 years. Until now. Valera stopped. Go, it's yours. Jace stared at the throne. It felt wrong. He had come to this world broken, hunted, alone. Now they wanted him to wear a crown made of teeth. He stepped forward, but instead of sitting, he knelt, facing Valera. Her eyes widened. The tribe gasped. You gave me everything, Jace said. Your trust, your strength, your future. He took her hand gently. I don't want a throne. He looked into her eyes. "I want your hand." Silence. Then a sound not heard on this planet in 1,000 years. Clapping. Slow. Quiet. Then louder. The tribe cheered. Not for a king. Not for a god. For them. A bond stronger than fear, than blood, than even war. A human and a huntress, choosing each other freely. But in the shadows beyond the hollow, something stirred. A voice hissed inside the minds of the old ones. This must not be allowed. Far above, hidden among clouds, the watchers had arrived. They were not gods, not warriors. They were the ones who created the huntresses centuries ago. They called themselves the architects. And now, their perfect design had been broken. By love. And by a child that should not exist. They could not allow it. That night, Jace and Valera stood atop a cliff, watching the sky burn with falling stars. "Those aren't stars," she whispered. "They're ships. Coming for us. Coming for what we made." Jace held her hand. "Then we don't hide." Valera nodded. "No, we prepare." Deep in the jungle, a child cried. Not in pain, in hunger. But when Valera held her, she stopped. Her skin was warm. Her eyes shimmered with two colors, earth brown and alien gold. Their daughter, born of two bloods. Her name was Zaya, meaning first light. And when Jace looked into her eyes, he didn't feel fear. He felt purpose. Days passed. The sky filled with strange machines. The architects sent messages. "Give us the child, or lose everything." Jace and Valera gave no answer. But their silence was louder than war drums. Then came the assault. Ships dropped machines. Tall, thin walkers with glowing red eyes. They didn't speak. They burned. Tribes scattered. Hunters fell. But Jace didn't run. He stood in the flames, spear in one hand, baby carrier strapped to his chest. Valera fought beside him, twin blades flashing like lightning. One by one, the machines fell. But more came. 10, 20, 40. The tribe was losing. Until the jungle itself fought back. The animals, the vines, the trees, the earth, all moved as one. Not wild, called by the blood of a child that carried the pulse of two worlds. Zeta. In the heart of the fire, she opened her eyes. And the machines froze. Their lights blinked, then died. Not from damage, but from fear. Because inside her, something awakened. Not human, not alien. Something new. A will that refused to be controlled. A heartbeat that commanded life. When the smoke cleared, the machines were gone. The ships fled. And the sky grew quiet again. Jace sat on a stone, holding his daughter. Valera leaned on him, her armor cracked, her face bruised, but her smile still fierce. "We didn't win today," she whispered. "No," he said. "We survived." Again. She looked at the child. "She's more than us." Jace nodded. "She's the future." Years later, stories were told around campfires about the man who fell from the sky, and the huntress who tasted his blood, about the god-beast who died, the 12 hunters who vanished, the child who stilled machines with a look, and the throne that remained empty. Because the true king never needed to sit down. He had already found his place. Beside her,